twice as speaking.
Fucking loser.
You're a loser.
Welcome to Cackling in the Void.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Kaylee.
Let's see if the void echoes back today.
And we are two best friends diving deeper into the world of In the Tall World by
Angel Van Atta.
Yeah, Angel Van Atta.
Yes.
Paused on that last name there, and I was like looking at it, and I was like, I know how to say this.
You're like, I got this, I swear.
I got this, I promise.
We were very excited to be coming back into this world because we did read the first one. I believe that episode came back out in like February, and it was In the Tall Trees. Viewer discretion advised, listener discretion advised. Just this is a very intense, triggering book for a lot of people. It's from the point of view of a child, and it's depicting child abuse, verbal abuse, mental abuse, kidnappings, tons of things.
Yeah, and I was like, and it also like tackles like a lot of like heavier topics such as depression and, you know, trauma and things like that. So
yeah. So, but it is written very well. And like we said, it is written from the point of view of a child, which makes it even more just hard hitting. And it's like a wow. Because as an adult, you know, you're not viewing things the way as obviously as a child does. And so it's just like hearing the certain things and like how this child remembers events from the first book into this book, you know, and it's just very well written.
Yeah, I also just think that it's interesting to watch, you know, somebody that is younger and is like, you know, that very like young adolescent child, because, you know, thinking about this book coming off of In the Tall Trees, she's 4 years old in that book, and now she's 5 in this book. So we're speaking about specifically a toddler, like basically like they're
like a young child.
You know, their pre-K kindergarten age, which is, as you know, most people know, unless you don't know much about kids, but I don't know. Anyway, besides the point that this is like a very big stage of development for them.
Yes.
This is where you pick up a lot of behaviors. This is where you learn social cues. This is where you learn emotional intelligence. This is where you learn emotional regulation and how to interact with not only your peers but adults around you as well. And we're tackling all of that within this book and speaking about it being extremely difficult because you know, Mella, who was our protagonist in the last book and who still is our protagonist in this book, you know, she's struggling with the idea of she was sheltered for so long. So a little bit of backstory, remembering back that she was kidnapped and held captive for 2 years.
Yes.
So she was kidnapped at, 2 years old and then grew up in this environment, this very like sheltered, specific environment until she was 4. And so in between 2 and 4, once again, really big gaps of developmental stages in your life.
Yeah.
And so now being thrust out into the world where we're seeing in this first chapter that her mother is still in the hospital and they're holding Petey there as well.
Who's her younger brother.
Yes, who is her younger brother. Who was also in the house with them while they were abducted.
Yeah.
When they were held captive, because he was born after they got there. And so because of that, obviously, Mella is now stuck without a home almost. And so who's she going to go with? She's actually going to reconnect with her biological dad as well in this book.
Yes. And along with the biological dad, connecting with her twin sister, who she hasn't seen, and like she has been very excited to see. So it's fun to see, like, oh my gosh, like, and it's, I really love how she had a twin sister, just kind of seeing the difference and like what this can do to somebody. And like, especially at this age, like she's like, oh, like she's a little bit taller, and like they're identical twins. So like, oh, she's like a little bit taller, her hair's a little longer, which is like the physical things. But even like socially, we kind of see like Mella even acknowledges, she's like, oh, she talks a little better than me.
Yes, she
you know,
has
and to like
clearer
just
sentences.
socially different, you know, and so it's, I really liked the choice of having a twin
Yeah.
and like showing the difference. And then we also get to see her meet her dad's fiance, Lana, and then her child, Rachel.
Yes.
Messy
And
dynamic.
so, but I think like that is like the depiction of the real world in it, where
Yeah.
nothing is ever done cleanly and nothing is ever like like wrapped in a bow. And I think that that portion of the now we're also seeing a very different adult dynamic happen in
Yes.
this world. Um, and so Mella is taken from the hospital to stay with her father and his fiance, Lana. Um, and for the most part, when we first meet like Lana, she seems like a very like typical like
Stepmom.
girlfriend, stepmom, like not really your mom, but also like seems okay, but doesn't really know because this is the first time like we're meeting, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
And I
there
do
was
like how in the hospital when like Mella meets her dad for the first time,
yeah.
like it kind of acknowledged, she's like, wow, like everything kind of like fell away. Like it was just me and my dad for a second. And it was like a, whoa, like this is odd.
Yeah, it's odd, but it's also such a great thing to put because it's like the she mentions like the feelings of like being nervous and like a little scared to meet him, but like also like excited, but like not
Yeah.
really knowing like the words to put that in, you know, not
Yeah.
really knowing like how to express that. And
And it's
so
also, I do like how, like, kind of throughout the book, she's like, kind of like, especially when she first meets him, she's like looking and like looking at him. She's like, I don't see a bad man in him.
yeah.
Like, having to acknowledge that for herself first. Like, no, this isn't. And I also really love, this was in the beginning of the book too, where also I love how she calls him Papa versus Daddy because
Yes.
Daddy is what they called Charlie, which was the
Yeah.
man that kidnapped them. And so she calls him Papa. And I do like how, you know, you kind of, obviously she's a 5-year-old, but kind of her kind of like going through these motions of, I'm not supposed to like Charlie, but I loved him because he brought me Reese's cups, but I don't like him. I hate him. And like just like this, like trying to understand in her own head, like, I loved him and I still do, but I shouldn't, but I hate him. And like just that very complicated feeling that no kid should really have to deal with.
Yeah, and the fact that she's now seeing this almost like reflected in her papa and
Yeah.
it being the, oh, I know that this is what I should love. I know that this
Yes.
is what that this is like what is normal, you know, and then having to confront that and then having to see not only that within herself, but then seeing how Papa interacts with, you know, her sister Meg and seeing
Yep.
how Papa interacts with, you know, her like quote unquote step sibling Rachel,
Yeah.
and seeing like that depiction. And she does, you know, talk about like feelings of like excitement. And she's like, oh, we don't see the bad man. And then, you know, we go home with them and we can kind of tell that like when they pick up the kids because that's when like Lana meets them as well. So like the first time obviously she meets her dad, that's when she meets Lana because they're there to like pick her up basically. And you can kind of just tell that like Lana is nervous as well. Like she's just like continuing to talk and you know there are like certain things that she says that she's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, when she's talking to the mom and just being like, oh my gosh, like I'm so sorry, like we just like thought you were gone.
Yeah.
And like she's just as like, we thought you were gone and like you were never coming back. And then like Georgie has to step in and say like, don't say that. Like,
Yeah. Like a, hey, like that's not
hey,
appropriate
like
right
don't
now.
bring that, like don't bring that up. Or like
Yeah.
with like with like her like with even like Mella when like they're going and like he's just like, hey, like could you like not say his name around her, like just like
Yeah.
very like, hey, like let's not call him Charlie in front of her, like let's just like not even like
Bring
let's
it
like
up.
move on.
Yeah.
But then not only that is like we see like a very big divide like in their house. So it's like when they first get home, Mella openly is like, man, I wish that I could sleep in like a room with with Meg or with even Rachel, even, because she's like,
Yeah.
it's weird because I've never really slept in a room alone.
Yeah, because
Because
she
before she
slept with
always,
Phoebe.
yeah, yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
before her and Petey would sleep together, and or that's when Charlie was at the house, but when Charlie was gone, they would all sleep in the bed with their mom.
Yeah.
And they were still doing that. And so she's never really like been alone in a room like that. And so
And like Lana's like, oh no, like I can't have like Meg can't be in there with you because it'll like hurt Meg. Like someone that like a kid that's been that traumatized can't be in a room with her because it's gonna like corrupt her and like make her bad or something. Like just like this logic of
yeah,
no, we can't put them
it's
together.
it's one of those things
Keeping one
where,
of them safe and like in this like
yes.
safe world versus hey, this kid knows so much.
Yeah, and it's the exposure of like because she has been so acutely abused, you don't want her exposing your other child to this world if they don't have to be.
Yeah.
And that's like her reasoning of like why they need to be kept separate. And ultimately her father does agree to that arrangement. He
What
does.
did you think about that arrangement?
I think that like once again, this is where like it gets so nuanced.
Yeah.
I think that I don't really see the issue with it, but it's also I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
In terms of being in terms of exposure, and you don't know what this child is going to say because you've never really met this child.
Yeah.
And you don't know and you also don't know what the actual abuse was that happened in that house.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I kind of understand that. But it's also at the same time, this child is in a place where they are so vulnerable. I don't know why as a parent you wouldn't be sleeping in that room with them.
Yes.
Here's the thing is like I kind of understand like being like, oh, like I don't want them like alone at night together. Maybe that could be a little bit more like acceptable. I do think that it's odd that they can't play together without supervision.
Yeah.
Later on, like when it comes like to like the dynamic like in the house during the day and the fact that they can't be alone together and that they have to have supervision at all times, I think is interesting to me. But once again, as a parent, like I kind of understand that, but it's also one of those things where the nuance of the situation is I did not like that we were only seeing perspectives from Lana's point of views and Lana's opinion about Mella's abuse and not her father.
Yes.
The fact
her father
that
was very quiet about it.
Yeah, the fact that like dad just kind of like, Papa just kind of agreed with Lana and agreed with his fiance and his girlfriend. And I understand like there's a dynamic of partnership there.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem like he advocated for her. It didn't seem like we saw any of that. But also, here's the thing is we have a slightly unfortunately, an unreliable narrator in Mella because of her age and because of what she's seeing. Mm-hmm. We're only seeing small glimpses. So like me saying that could just be like a irrelevant point because we're not even seeing that side of the relationship. But even in the depiction of the book, it doesn't seem like he speaks up to her that often when it comes to certain things, especially about the kids.
We see it later on in the book where he is very like he'll maybe like say something, but he kind of sugarcoats it and kind of backs down.
Yes, absolutely. And so it is interesting to like kind of see that. And so
and we kind of skip forward. I think we're on like day 3 where she's been there. Yeah.
We skip
she's like wet the bed
later.
2 of the 3 days. So we wake up and she's wet the bed. And which is first off, she's 5 years old. They still wet the bed. Like it's a very normal thing for a kid to do, especially a kid going through this much trauma and this new experience that they've never been through. They're gonna regress. And even I know Mella in her head is very much like, oh, like I don't do this. Why am I wetting the bed? And it's like, no, like, darling, like you're regressing and that's okay. Like you've been through so much. You're gonna regress and that's okay.
Yeah, and then also like to hear
okay.
her like go in on that a little bit more, but like, to hear her inner voice just like be like, I like hate myself that I'm doing this. Like I know how mad Charlie, like I know how mad like Daddy used to get, like Charlie used to get when like I did this, and like I don't know why, like I just want to be a good girl. Like I just want to be good.
Like, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to be yelled at. I'm kind of tired of it.
Yeah. And so that's just like one of those things where it's the, like you were saying, of course you're regressing.
Yeah. And once again, perfectly normal to regress. And so Lana comes in and is like, hey, like, what are you, like a baby? Now you need to clean this. And it's immediately like, whoa, okay, that was a big reaction for something that is a perfectly normal thing to happen. And so she makes her strip the bed and like go to the bathroom to like wash it out herself. And, like strips her clothes and everything like that as well. And she turns on the water, and Mella is like, this is hot. Like, this burns my skin. And she's like, can we turn the water down? And then Lana just leaves and doesn't turn the water down. And so, like, she's like washing these clothes, and she's like, my hands are like stinging. They're really hot. So she washes her
bedding and her clothes in the shower. And she openly says, like, it wouldn't be taking me as long because I do know how to do this. It shouldn't be taking me this long. It's taking me this long because the water's so hot.
Yeah.
And so like, and then that's like the other thing. And then Lana comes back into the bathroom.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, like this, she's like, oh, this took so long. Like, she turns off the water. She's like, okay, just leave it in there. And then and then she kind of like drags her and it's like, you need to stay here on this carpet and I'll bring you clothes. And because if you move, I'm going to slip and crack my head open. And I can't have that. And I'm like, okay. And so she like, leaves.
It's like it's the idea of don't track water around on the floor because you already made such a mess this morning. And I just can't handle the idea of not only me slipping and cracking my head open on the bathroom floor, but what if your sister comes in and you hurt your sister as well?
Yeah.
And there's that, like, big layer about that.
And so then Mella's kind of just, like, standing there naked. And now she's like, I'm really cold because she's wet.
Yeah, with the door open.
And she's, like, really cold. And Rachel comes over and is like, ew, you're naked. And, like, makes a big deal of it.
And it's just, like, openly, like, why are you so disgusting all of the time? Why are you naked? Like, and, like, pointing and laughing at her.
Yeah.
And it's, like, this also is where the book shows not only how cruel adults can be, but how cruel children can be as well.
Yeah.
And this is also a direct reference to what they're seeing in their parents.
Yes, and this is where we see that mirror image. Parents very much influence their kid.
Yeah,
and it's exactly, especially at this age.
I agree.
And so then she's like sitting there, and like Lana's also like, oh, like we need to hurry up, but like we need to leave in like 20 minutes, and if you want breakfast, like we need to hurry up. And so then she's just like kind of standing there waiting for her clothes, and then Lana comes over and like gives her clothes finally, and kind of goes, oh well, it's too late, we need to leave anyway. It's like she doesn't get breakfast.
Yeah.
And so she loads them all up in the car. And, this is like not her first time in a car, but one of her first times in a car. And the doctor does say, she's like, oh, like, you're, like, she's probably going to get motion sick and car sick. Like, her body's not used to a car. And
so, she wasn't exposed to it that much.
Yeah. And, she was in the woods, so she couldn't have been, And so it makes sense on why she's not used to a car.
Yeah.
And she then like Meg like hands her like a little piece of a waffle and is like, hey, like, you have food. And so she like is munching on this waffle, and then she starts feeling sick. And so they get to the school and she's like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna throw up. And she has a really hard time like unclicking the button for like the seatbelt
on her car seat. Yeah.
Thank you, that. And, like, she kind of, like, opens the door and, like, kind of falls out of the car and ends up, like, cutting up her knees and her hands really, really bad. And, like, barfing, as I read it, like, barfing while she's on the ground still. Like, laying there.
Yeah. Like, she wanted to get up and, like, go, but, like, she couldn't help it and, like, she couldn't stop herself. Another thing is like, the doctor gave them bags to, like, bring in the car with them. So, like,
and
if
also,
she
like,
did feel motion
anti-nausea things.
like that, yeah, they could take the anti-nausea medication and then as well as like have these bags in their car just in case she got sick. But she openly is like, yeah, Lana never puts the bags in the car unless dad's there, like unless Papa's there, and then that's the only time like the bags will be brought. And you know, they're not allowed to like eat or drink or like, you know, like eat or drink in the car. And so clearly like Lana has stressed the point of the car needs to remain nice. And so that's also why like her eating the waffle in the car was already breaking a rule.
Yeah.
But she was
and
really
like she ate it quickly.
But she was really grateful that her sister did that for her, because she's like, oh, like I miss her. And then not only that is like, we need to talk about like the idea of like Meg, yes, is a part of this book, but Meg also was greatly affected by their disappearance, because it's openly stated that Meg doesn't talk much. That once they were taken, she kind of shut down and didn't talk for like a good like year and a half after they left.
Yeah.
And so like there was this point of a very long silence in Meg's life. And she kind of like struggled with that developmentally. But then like to see like that Meg is much more open with Mella is very refreshing to see. And obviously Mella really does appreciate that. But, you know, as Mella is throwing up, you know, there's this man that's, you know, just directing traffic in front of school as like, you know, a parent volunteer most likely, comes up and is like, hey, are you okay? Like, what's like going on? Like, do you need help? And, you know, it's hard because they're on like the side of a road almost as she's throwing up, and like, you know, there's cars going by. Like, I almost hit that kid. Like, what's going on? Like, is everything okay? Like, what's happening? Why is there a kid out in the middle of the street? Like, you should be like watching her more. And like, Lana's getting out of the car and obviously visibly getting upset and is like, she's fine. Like, you know, like she just gets a little car sick. Like, mind your own business. Like, go away. Like, very much like that. And like the guy is, you know, asking Mella herself, like, hey, are you okay? Are you feeling okay? And Mella says, like, I openly want to tell him that I'm not okay, but I know I'm going to get in trouble if I say that.
Yeah. And I also do like how she does like in her head kind of say like, oh, like he seems so nice, but Charlie seems nice sometimes too. It's like that distrust of specifically men at this point.
Yeah, at this point, we're seeing like a large distrust in men just in general, because it's like the can't tell if there's a bad man in there. I can't tell like what that looks like yet. And so, you know, Lana pulls her up by her arm again, which this is like the second time where like she's pulled her like really roughly by her arm and like puts her in the car. And she openly says,
she's like, oh, I'm going to bruise it. It's like, this is really hard.
Yeah, like Mella openly does say that and state that, and you know, she's put back in the car, and Lana just is like, I can't believe like you are like this, like,
this is,
you know,
so embarrassing.
Yeah, like
you just embarrassed me.
Yeah, like you're so embarrassing, like you're just literally the worst, and I don't know why like he would even agree to keep you. I wanted to put you in foster care, but he insisted to keep you when I think that we should really just put you in a bag and throw you in a river. And I'm like, that's
wild
crazy.
Statement. Yeah.
And like she just like turns up the music to basically ignore this child. And then like by the time they get home, like she's getting a phone call and she answers at the phone, and she just opens the car door and leaves Mella in her car seat.
Yeah.
Like the car door is open, and then she walks into the house and closes the door.
Yeah. And like Mella like earlier is struggling to undo the button, and she like hears a dog, and like the dog scares her, and she hears like motorcycles because she remembers all of these sounds.
She remembers where like the dogs back at the old house chased her, and you know, Charlie had to come and rescue her from these stray dogs.
Yeah.
And she remembers that, and she's like, you know, scared, like, oh, what if these dogs, because I'm like tied up, like what if these dogs come and like attack me because I'm trapped?
Yeah,
you know?
like what if, and like obviously the dog is on a leash, but she's like, what if that snaps?
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be attacked by this dog, and she's like starting to panic. And also she starts like developing an inner voice of her daddy, you know, like her dad. And like she starts like getting this voice of like, no, like you'll like a parental voice in her head to kind of help her like talk through things and work through things.
Mm-hmm. And we did see this like previously, but now it's getting much stronger.
Yeah. And she's like struggling with the seatbelt and she's just stuck. And so she's like, oh, like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, okay, like, maybe there's another way. And so she ends up like sliding out by like, you know, putting her knee through it and like standing up on the car seat. Yeah. And, like sliding out that way to go inside.
Yeah. Then to be able to go inside and then
at this point, I just want waffles and breakfast.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, like, I know that she was like, I hope that she left the butter out because I can't reach the butter on the thing. She's like, I know like the waffles are okay without, like, are still good without the syrup because she's not really expecting the syrup to be there. And she's like hoping that the butter is there. Yeah. And like, she's like ready to go in and eat. And she realizes that there's no food on the table. And like, she's little. She's 5. She can't really get her own plate and she can't like make herself food because she might not be strong enough to open the fridge.
Yeah. And like, she's 5 and she probably knows more about making her own food than like other kids at her age. But like you said, like she probably can't open the fridge. She doesn't know where things are in this kitchen.
Yeah, she doesn't know where things are, but it does seem like a lot of things are put up.
Yeah.
That things are not in reach because she openly says like she can't really snack in the house. Mm-hmm. And then not only that is like Lana's openly like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like only when the other girls are here can you have snacks.
Yeah. And so then we see her like getting really, really upset, and how she describes things is through colors, which I think is a really creative thing, especially for like a kid. And how she's like, oh, like now like there's red inside me and orange and I'm upset. Like I'm very upset. And so then she's like, and it felt like it was being tightly wound. Yeah. Like I felt like this whole, like all these emotions were being very, very tightly wound. And then they just like started spewing out of my mouth and I couldn't stop it. And so she's throwing a temper tantrum and like screaming and like crying and very, very upset because she's hungry and there's no food. And so Lana comes over and literally starts like cursing out at the child. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is unacceptable. And like picks up the child and like picks up Mella, and she's like carrying her to her, you know, Lana comes and picks up Mella and she's bringing her to her room, and Mella's like hitting and kicking Lana and like screaming and crying. And Lana puts her like in her crib and then shuts the door and leaves. Mm-hmm. And so, and you know, Mella is describing it as like I was yelling and screaming until I couldn't anymore. And like my throat hurt and I'm just tired now and I fell asleep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm yelling, I'm kicking the bars, I'm like shaking everything, and like it just, I finally couldn't. And it's like the idea of
wearing yourself out emotionally and physically.
Yeah. You know, like we're looking at like, you know, that's very normal for children to get overwhelmed to like, you know, where like they have to have like breaks, you know, and things like that. It's very clear that like not only that is like, you know, she's hungry, she's tired, she's just like wants.
Because how old are you when you stop taking naps? Roughly. Like a child.
I don't know.
I'm gonna look that up because I don't know. Because like is she still at the age where it's like, oh, like she's getting her nap time, like she's hungry but yet tired and like.
I don't know. I don't know when you stop taking naps as a child. I also was homeschooled, so I'm not like a good gauge of that at all.
I think in preschool you, know you take naps.
Like, okay, I know in pre-K you take naps, but I don't know in kindergarten if you take naps.
You don't. So like, it says about 90% to 95% of children are completely transitioned to just sleeping at night by 5 years old.
Okay. And so it's like, but it's like the idea of, I do feel like that she was kind of like that, where like she like was like getting to the point where she didn't need to take a nap, but it's also like the idea of like
regression.
She's tired. And but it's also like the big burst of emotions like this is exhausting.
Yes.
You know?
It's exhausting for everybody, let alone a small little human.
Yeah, and so she ends up falling asleep and having, you know, a very like big nightmare. And it's really interesting about how we see this happen because she, you know, describes it as like she's in her room and she's like waking up and the room is dark and she's hearing and seeing the shadows like come alive. Yeah. And like they're they're coming through, and they're in between like the dresser and her closet, and like they're coming out, and then it starts out as like a man's voice and a man's body, and then all of a sudden it slowly shifts. It shifts now to a woman. It shifts now to this, and is kind of saying, like, reiterating the things that Lana is saying. And she's describing, like, these words, like, drip out of these shadows' mouths, like with red on them, with, like, these orangey, like, colors, and red seeps from their mouths and their words and things like that. And
it's, I just want to say, the narrator does a phenomenal job throughout this entire book. I love how she did the voices for the nightmares.
Yeah.
Very scratchy, very eerie. And it was almost uncanny. Like, it was, you could tell it's a human talking, obviously, but it's very like, ooh, like this just like, it's different. It's slightly different.
Yeah, and I love that distinction within the audiobook because it really helps you distinguish the nightmares from reality as an audio listener. But I also think that in terms of like writing and in the book, I think there could be a certain aspect of it that could be more powerful because you probably are imagining it in just the voice that you imagine Charlie's voice in just the voice that you imagine, you know, who this woman would be. Yeah. And, you know, unfortunately for Mella, it is Lana. So you would picture it in the voice of Lana. And so it is, I love the way that the narrator does this because it seems like it's almost this otherworldly caricature of them. That it's not necessarily them, but it's not necessarily not them as well.
Yeah, and that's why it's like, it's kind of like an uncanny version of them where it's just a slight difference. It's a more scratchy. It's just how they're talking, drawing out the words just slightly on certain emphases.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so it's like...
I don't know what you're trying to say, Ashley, so I don't really know.
Like on certain emphasis.
The way that they emphasize their words.
Thank you. That word.
Okay. I was like, what's happening?
You're like, what word? Yeah.
I don't know what Ashley's trying to say. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to translate it, and it's just not.
Oh my God. Emphasize. And like the diction is just slightly different, but you could tell it's still the same person.
Yeah.
And so I really love how it was written like that, and how, as also an audiobook listener, the audio did that.
Yeah, and how like the narrator did that. I thought that was like a really cool part of it. And then not only that is like the fact that now you're seeing Mella's dreams, nightmares shift. You're seeing how bigger and how broader and how much longer her nightmares are becoming because her worldview is opening up. And she was like, I was having this like really traumatic dream almost where there was all of these shadows and all of these voices, and then all of a sudden I felt like if I stopped and I like let them like get me, like maybe I would like I don't know what would happen to me like in real life. And she's like, and then I thought about that, and then it just went black. Like I was like having a really bad nightmare, and then all of a sudden I like drifted into sleep where it was like nothing. Like that feeling of nothingness, back to,
you know, like that morning, it makes sense on why she's peeing the bed. Like imagine living as a child like through these nightmares.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
not only through like the night terrors, but then like the something about this book that I think that it depicts so well is really the concept of children now learning emotional regulation and how to read people's emotions, and how it's the idea of like that, well, I don't want to do anything to make them upset. Now we're teaching our kids how to not only self-regulate, but this is where we're getting to a point where like this child is now learning how to accommodate the adults around her and the emotions that she now expects from these situations. You know, already like she knew that she was going to be upset about her like wetting the bed, you know, like she knew like things were like going to happen, and like she knew that there was consequences and stuff like that. And so she's like rolling around almost, and like she kind of is like, oh, I guess maybe I should like almost like wake up, because like she hears her papa's voice being like, Mella, like, are you okay? Like, are you ready to wake up? Like,
yeah, very gentle.
Yeah, like very, very gentle,
soothing.
very calming, very soothing. And she's like hesitant to open her eyes, and she's like, oh, well, what if it's not him? What if I'm still dreaming? Like, what if it's sad. Like a scary thing? And
like,
it's
what if it's Charlie again?
Yeah.
And, like, I wake up to Charlie.
Yeah, and things like that. And so like she barely opens her eyes, and like they kind of have like this really like cute moment of like when she like sees him and she realizes that she's like safe almost like with him. And then he notices that like she has like cuts on her hands and on her like knees and stuff. And he's like, oh, like what happened? Like what happened? And she's like, oh, I fell out of the car. And he was like, well, did you tell Lana? And like, did she like clean you up? And like, did she like put like the, like, he calls it ouchie spray, but it's antibacterial spray.
Yeah.
On it. And she's like, and she like doesn't say anything because she doesn't want, because she's scared that if she says something, she's going to get Lana in trouble. And she's scared, like, if she, like, and she doesn't want Lana to get mad at her if she gets Lana in trouble. And, like, she just has a real genuine question, like, what is ouchie spray? Yeah. And she doesn't, like, confirm or deny that Lana did or did not, like, clean it. But, like, it is just, like, the idea of, like, what is that? Mm-hmm. I've never heard of that.
And so it's kind of confirming it without her saying it. Because she's like, oh, what is that?
Yeah. And it's like as a child, you don't understand like that you're giving that away in any terms, but like giving that away that Lana did not address this. And like, he like picks her up and like takes her to the bathroom and like starts like cleaning her off. And like Lana pops her head in and is like, what are you guys doing in here? Like, how is everything? Are you, like, is she feeling better? And he's like, Lana, she has scrapes on her. She said that she fell out of a car. Like, when did she fall out of the car? And Lana's like,
oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Yeah. It's like the flip of who Lana is in front of George comparatively to who Lana is without him there is very different. So, like, we see that very, like, distinct, like, personality flip.
Yeah.
Of the,
and Mella's
oh my gosh,
I'm
so sorry.
Yeah, like, Mella's also kind of clocked it in, like, oh, she's nice to me when Papa's around.
Yeah. Like, when Papa's around, that's when she's nice. But when Papa's not around, she's not nice. And even Meg has openly said that. Like, Meg is like, she's not, like, that nice. But, like, she's nice when Papa's around. Like, it feels good when, like, we're all, like, a big family.
Yeah.
And so but also, like, Mel is trying to, like, fight the idea of, I wish she was like this all of the time, though.
Mm-hmm.
I wish she was just nice to me all of the time, like, without my dad being here.
Yeah. And as she's there, she's like, oh, have you talked to her about, like, not being, like, a wild animal? And he's like, can you not call her that? Like, maybe she's hungry. She's in, like, she fell. Like, she's probably hurting. Like, there's a reason, Yeah. And she's like, oh, well, like, what about me? This is so hard for me. And I'm like, bro.
Yeah. Because it's like, I made that, like, her dad says it because she's like, when Lana's like, oh, well, have you talked to her about telling us because we're not, like, we don't live like wild animals? And, like, I love how, like, dad was like, maybe that reaction is why she didn't tell you.
Yeah.
Maybe because she's scared of telling somebody that she's in pain, and he openly addresses that. And I kind of like that he does that. And then, she does shoot into the, well, you don't realize how hard it is for me, Georgie. Like,
and also she's like, oh, well, we don't coddle Rachel. Like,
well, yeah, it's like how long are you going to coddle her for? Because we don't coddle any of our other kids that way.
Yeah.
And then
he's like, well, like, I think we need to have sympathy.
Her.
Yeah, it's like, we're not coddling her, but we need to have sympathy and empathy for what she's gone through. Like, she's gone through so much. And that's when Lana's like, well, this is so hard for me. I've gone through so much with me. And, that's where she kind of starts jumping into the, oh, well, like, this is so hard for me. Like, you need to have sympathy for me. You're just going to leave me for your wife now, aren't you, Georgie? I'm like,
yeah, but it's also, like, the idea of, like, I know that if we put it in perspective, number one, I will never say that Lana is a good person in this book at all, because we're clearly seeing that she's not. But we're seeing manipulation played out with a grain of truth. Number one, and I think she does have some kind of decent points. I'm sorry, I don't think that you're realizing how difficult this could be for me in terms of, number one, I stuck with you through this period of time where you were searching for them. Number two, I supported you not only while you were searching for them, but while you were searching for them and like taking like time like for yourself, and like working, I was here watching your child.
Yeah,
and I was here watching Meg, being fully responsible for both of our children by myself while emotionally and physically supporting you.
Yes. So and I also do think we see her kind of telling this like, oh, like we thought she just took the kid and left. Like we're seeing this, and obviously that is a lie, because he openly says to her as well. It's like, oh, like we kind of thought that you just, like Lana said that you just kind of up and left. And so it's obviously it's a lie that she started, but it's something that obviously over years it's like, and you hear it and you hear it and hear it. There's parts of it that start getting into your head. And so she does say, she's like, when we thought that she just up and left your kid. And so it's like you said, I'm not saying that this situation wouldn't be hard for her. Like that sounds like a really hard situation, supporting someone that lost their wife and a kid, not knowing if they were kidnapped, if they were, that she just left them and left a kid behind, if like not knowing these things for 2 years and like being that person to support them. Yeah, that's really, really hard. Like you said,
person that supports them, but then like not only that, like moving into their house with them.
Yeah.
Like, and now having like moving them and now being a live-in help. And it's also one of those things where it's like thinking about it, like I don't think Lana works. So it's like very clear that like he supports all of them.
Yeah.
Like and she's not working. And so it's like the idea of like, well, and then she like brings up the point like, well, if you leave me for your wife, like what am I going to do? What is Rachel going to do? Like what are we going to do? Because I dropped my entire life to support you. And do I think that it's a wild statement for somebody to be like, I can't believe you still love your wife? The answer is yes. I think that's a wild statement. But the fact that Lana says that multiple times, Lana's like, I can't believe that you still love your wife. You're being insensitive to me, and like all you care about are these kids. Yeah. And that is how it's like coming off, and that is how it's reading. And she's throwing her own tantrum in front of Mella, in front of Meg, in front of Rachel, to the point where Rachel now is crying because she's like, are you going to leave us? Yeah. And am I going to now be without a daddy? Like, and
like that's like, no, I'm not leaving anybody.
Yeah, and he's also like, I'm not leaving anybody. Like you said, everybody needs to calm down for a second. Yes.
And I do love like how you brought up the point where it's like the thing she said, and the reason that she's such a good manipulator is because she does little grains of truth, because the easiest or like,
I'm not gonna lie, like that would be hard.
It'd be hard. And
like that would be a hard situation. The most believable
lies are the ones that are based right next to the truth. You have majority of the truth, and it's just a little line included, and she's really good at that. And we see how that progresses in the book. So
and then like within this argument, she's also like it's not my fault that Alice didn't teach her anything. It's not my fault that she wasn't raised in a loving household like we have now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of digging on like Alice on how she raised Mel. And like it's a lot of that. And it's like we're seeing her throw this tantrum to the point where like now the kids are getting upset because she's having like such a big ordeal. And like she literally is like starting to cry and scream, and she storms off and slams the door.
Yeah. What did you think about her voice acting in the book?
I loved it. It was good.
I loved it.
It was great.
It very much
she sounds like a pick-me girl, and that's what it is.
Yeah, I was like, it fit her character
so well. But she sounded exactly what you think like.
How did you imagine she looked like?
I think that she's pretty, number one. I think that she's like a little bit more like of like that conventional pretty, like very like Instagram, like trad wife looking person. Very like stereotypical. I'm gonna say like anywhere between 5'4" and 5'7", slender to medium build, not athletic, but not not athletic, but not too skinny. So like, you know, we have to understand like she's a mom. So it's like her body's going to have a little bit more weight, but I don't think that she's anything bigger than a US 8.
Yeah. And it's very interesting because it's,
like
I was trying to think about this.
And then like in certain terms, like I do have like physical attributes that I just assign to this woman, but like that's
like
just
hair color and skin color and stuff like that. Yeah. It's
I'm sorry guys. It's like,
I kind of imagined her body the same thing. I imagined her brunette.
See, okay, here's the thing is she's not a natural blonde in my head.
No.
She's not. It was like she's not a natural
with
blonde.
Highlights.
Yeah, but like those like very. I think we've all met this woman before where like it's like this like lighter brown with like chunky highlights that are like blended for like older women. Like there's this very like specific look that she has of her hair. She's not natural blonde, but I think that she's more blondie than anything because she lives here in California.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I also think it's really interesting, and I wanted to bring it up. I was thinking about it last night.
I also think she has brown eyes.
Yes, brown eyes.
Like brown eyes, slender features. But I don't think that she's like, I think she's more of like a natural looking woman, and I don't think like she has like filler or anything like that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it last night when, you know, because I finished the book last night. You finished it yesterday morning. And I was just kind of like laying in bed and I was like, what interesting thing is if we kind of, I hate this book. If we bring up The Playground Child of Divorce, hate it. It's okay. But this book, right? We kind of see a similar thing that we had an issue with in Child of Divorce versus this book, and we don't have it in this book. And one of the issues that we had in Child of Divorce was we had no descriptions of the characters and what they looked like. And like we said, like we can tell you like there's one black man, there was a Hispanic kid, and then there was the rest were white, you know, and like there's an older lady, but we didn't know what she looked like. We just know she was older, you know. And so like we didn't get any of like the descriptions or anything like that. But in this book, we're not getting it either. But it's because it's from so distinctly that child's point of view that they're not going to clock these as much as like, you know, like they're not going to acknowledge it like we will. You know what I mean? And so I was like, it's interesting that we're not having issue with it.
I have another point to that.
Okay.
And I think that this comes down to character depth. I don't think that it is necessary for us to know what Lana looks like because of the way that she is written. Her dialogue and her character is so strong, it does not matter.
Exactly.
And I also think, and another reason is we kind of like get this more like towards the end of the book when we get to like the outro and like the aftermath of like where like the author kind of goes into things a little bit more. I think she purposely made her very ambiguous. I think she purposely did that so that people could
have their
own depiction of who this person could have been in their life or who they interacted with that reminds them of this person. And so therefore I think that it's I think that this book does it really well. And I think that is like one of the things where it's like I think that in A Child of Divorce, it would have been important because there wasn't enough character, dialogue, development, or presence in that book for me not to care about what they look like. Because in all actuality, we don't know what Georgie looks like. We don't know what Papa
we don't know
what
any of the characters look like.
We don't know what
Mella
these adults
has shorter
look
hair
like.
than Meg.
All I can say is I know for a fact that Charlie's white. That's like, I just think that like no other... I'm sorry.
For sure.
Yeah, he's a white man. Like, I'm sorry. No other fucking person is doing this. Like, I just...
Yeah, because...
In my mind, I'm like, no, that's really what it is.
To the
like,
original,
guy can't.
The first book, the idea was, and Mella does also remember it, which is so sad. There's a line later that I remember Oh my god. Anyway, but the original plan was Charlie was the man that kidnapped them, and he was a part of this online group that was preparing for the end of the world and wanted basically like women to breed and their kids
and to make the
breed,
perfect race,
to make the perfect race,
to make like not only to like they also like did say that like they wanted people like to look different because when their kids and they have generations reproduce, they have the features that they want. They have like, you know, they're trying to make a nation. That's what they were doing.
And like they're like prepping for the end. They're like the world's gonna end and we need a prep. And I'm like,
they're prepping for the end of the world, and so they're prepping to branch off from society and create their own society. But for me, I'm like, Charlie is very. I have a very like strong depiction of what I think Charlie looks like, and I'm like, he's like. I was like, for me, I'm like, Charlie is anywhere between 5'11" and 6'2", which I know is like kind of a big like jump.
I'd say he was like 6
height.
feet, my height in my brain.
Yeah, I think he has short brown hair, but like light brown hair, not dark brown hair. I think that he has like light brown eyes.
How old do you see him as?
Oh, I mean, it's also like crazy to like think about this because like these people are probably like 35. These people are like really close in terms of because like if age think back, to us.
I completely forgot about this little detail. But because
I'm almost positive
Lana and Alice and Charlie all knew each other from school. Yes. I forgot about that fact.
Yeah. They all knew each other from school and all kind of graduated around the same age. I think Alice was a year younger than them.
Because she went to London, probably to study abroad.
Yes, she went to London to go study abroad and then came back. Yeah. But it's like one of those things where it's like they all did grow up to, like in school together, so they're all very similar in age. So I think they're in between the age range of 32 and 35. Yeah. By the time like and this is only the age range of like when for this book. Specifically for this book, because I think that the age range of like when they like were kidnapping like got happened probably in anywhere in between the age of like 30 and 32 is like when I kind of like you know like 29 if we're going to be generous. But I don't think that because it seems like they all got like, you know, they graduated high school, they got college degrees. It doesn't seem like Alice got anything further than a bachelor's, which, number one, I'm not saying that in a degrading way. I'm just saying that that's what it just sounds like in the book. Yeah. So we can say that, like, you know, let's just say, like, she graduated at 19 because, like, 19 to 18 and a half by the time she started college. You know, you're in that for 4 years, you know.
So now you're about 22.
Yeah, so you're about 22 when you graduate, then you come back, probably date your husband for like 3 years, give or take. Yeah, like 2 to 3 years, and then you guys get engaged, and then you guys get married, and then they were married for a year before they had the girls. Yeah. And then, you know, so like what, you're like, let's say like you're like 24, 25 by the time that you get married. And then you like tack on like another like 5 to 7 years, you know, you're going to be 30 to 32 at that point.
Yeah, because if that means they had kids around 26, 27-ish. And that would bring us up to, 26, 27, they'd be 32 because they're 5. Yeah. So that adds up.
And that's what I mean. Like, I think specifically within this book, they're anywhere between the ages of like 32 and 35. Yeah. Because I think that when the kidnapping happened, I think that she was in between the age of like, let's say like youngest, 29. Yeah. In between like the age of like 29 and 32 would be like the age bracket that I think that adult Alice got taken at. Yeah. You know? And that's why I'm like, that's where I think there's that. But it's also like the idea of like, they all did go to school together. So they're all very close in age. And so it's like, at most, I would say that, you know, he was probably like 33 when he did it, you know? Yeah. And so it's like there's like things like that. But as like going back to like Ashley's point, I don't think we needed it in this book because the character description, the language of it, and the personal ties that the characters have are so strong and so solid, it's unnecessary almost.
Yeah.
Would I love it? Absolutely, because I'm a sucker for details. And yes. Ashley is too. Yeah. I was like, Ashley and I are both
we're very much we need all the details, and we're like, this means this and this and yeah. But it's also I really think in this book, like as much as we love the details, I do love because it's in the child's point of view, you're very much in the world and you're very much like there in it. So it's like you said, you're putting in your own kind of people and your own imagination of who these characters are to you. And it was written very well for that purpose. And I love how she did that. And it was a great choice for her to do it that way.
Yeah, I agree. But like, we're not seeing what Lana looks like, but we're seeing, you know, Lana throw this tantrum, storm down the hallway, slam the door, and Georgie kind of just like, George like doesn't know what happened and is like now like chasing after Lana and is like, no, like please, like, and like going towards like the room, and like he goes into the room and closes the door so that they can like have this conversation. And then Rachel is like, you know, Mella's in the bathroom like holding her hands open, like waiting for the spray, like oh, okay, like not necessarily like shocked, but like just like holding her hands out, so like waiting for like the disinfectant spray. You know, and Rachel's like crying at the door, and she like just like looks at Mella, and like Rachel says like, they never fought before you came, like what's wrong with you, like I can't believe you're like this, like you're causing this. And then like storms off and is like, and goes and cries in her own room. And then we see Meg come into the bathroom and is like, oh, do you want me to spray this on your hands? And she's like, yeah, okay. And she's like, are you ready? And she's like, yeah, okay. And they like do that, but then we also get like this really nice depiction of these sisters bonding almost, where like Meg is like, that's not true. They argue all of the time. Like, and I do love how constantly doing this.
Yeah, so, and I do love how Mella's first like kind of thought is, oh, does Papa get mad too? Because she's scared, like, you know, and it's very natural reaction of like no, I can't do that again, you know. And so she's like, no, like he doesn't yell, but Lana's always yelling at him.
And it's like, and it's just like the fact that like Meg as a child is saying that like, oh, they fight all the time, and Lana yells at him all of the time. Like Papa doesn't get like mad, and like she openly said like he sometimes like will raise his voice, but he's not yelling. But like it's not,
like, he gets firm.
Like she says like you can tell that he gets frustrated, but he never like yells at her or like is mean to her. And like, and she openly is like, well, like Lana, like this happens a lot where Lana yells and she cries, and then Daddy goes and like apologizes or buys her something. And the fact that like this kid openly says that, like, oh, when they get in a fight, like she cries and she screams, and then Daddy just and Daddy just buys her a gift. And I'm like,
and so we kind of see this like where like he is, I know, where it's like I love that he is calling her out like, hey, we can't call her a wild animal, like what are we doing? But then yet he does give in so easily, and really like listens to her, which I mean you should listen to your spouse, but also
for sure. And then this is where me and Ashley like we're kind of talking about this outside, where I do believe that some people, and this is just some, I don't think that all people are like this. I do believe that some people can be a brilliant, great, loving, kind parent, but a shitty fucking partner. A shitty fucking spouse, a shitty fucking partner. And it is one of those things where it's like, we do see that quite often. It's just whether or not people want to recognize that that's what's happening is their own issue, like is their own thing, and like who am I to say that? But I do think that there are people that can be really great parents but really bad at being in a relationship or really bad at having a partner. And whether that's the you can kind of tell here where like her dad is a like does have that avoidant personality of the I don't really want to talk about it. I don't really want to do anything. I just want to make the situation better. So I'm going to say or do whatever it takes for this behavior to stop, regardless if this is a good behavior that I should be rewarding or not. And it like, I hate to put it in like that, in like those like black and white terms of like whether or not like he's rewarding this behavior, but in essence he is. Like giving her like these gifts and like giving her like these things, we can see that
it's
he has like an avoidant anxious attachment style, which is very much, a lot of people are like, oh, that's very contradictory, like to like exist together, but it's a very common existence.
It's very common.
It's a very like you common existence for this to like, be how I think together.
It really does play out in that, where it's like you're very avoidant in the sense of you don't want to fight, you kind of just want everything to be chill, like you're avoiding those type of things, but yet like, but you're avoiding it because you have that anxious attachment to style and you don't want things to change. And you're like, oh my God. And so it's like,
exactly.
Like you said, it sounds contradictory, whatever you said.
Yeah, but, it sounds contradictory, but it makes a lot of sense together. It
is a very vicious cycle because you're avoiding these things because you're anxious and don't want to lose them. And now it's causing this, and it's a whole cycle.
Yeah, where you have like Lana, on the other hand, who doesn't seem as avoidant in terms of like letting her feelings be known, but then we're seeing where the disconnection of regulation is coming in, because once again, what she's saying is not necessarily inappropriate as a conversation for her to have behind closed doors with her partner.
Yes. It's inappropriate.
But it's the way that
in front of the kids
and
how she's talking.
I was like, it's inappropriate by the way that it's being expressed in front of these children. And so it's inappropriate because she is now getting unregulated and is not, number one, hearing her partner. She's not hearing her partner, whether or not she's saying like correct things or right things or valid things at all. It's the fact that of the matter becomes inappropriate about the circumstances. I thought, here's the thing, is like, I don't think that it is inappropriate, and this is going to sound really controversial. I don't think that it is inappropriate for you and your partner to every once in a while have a lapse of regulation and yell at each other. I think that that's unfortunately very natural. It's a very natural occurrence that happens, and I don't think that it's necessarily wrong, and I don't think that that should be a regular occurrence at all. But I think what needs to happen is like when things get like that is what are you going to do after to regulate yourself, to continue having a conversation and not a yelling match. And I think that that's where the line crosses, because when you get to a certain point, and it was very clear at the very beginning that this wasn't going to be a conversation, this was just going to be her yelling.
Yeah.
And like, I do think like there's a difference between yelling and a yelling conversation.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. And it's like I know like that sounds crazy, like I can always explain more, but like, you know what I mean?
No, there's a big difference, because it's when like you're yelling and like you're kind of, because you could be a very like, emotionally regulated person. Like I consider us very emotionally regulated. We work on it very, very hard. But there are going to be moments. There are going to be moments, obviously, where we're like, we kind of get, and it kind of builds, and it's like
lose it.
And
it's
you just
bad.
like, you're like, oh my God.
Okay.
And it could just be like a 5-10 minute thing. It could be longer than that. But like, it could be like the initial big burst of it could be like 5 to 10 minutes. And you're like, I am so sorry. That was so much. I had a lot in in me. Can we have a conversation about it? Because that was not how I wanted that to come out.
Yes.
You know, so like,
it's the idea of like, we very clearly see that that's not happening. And so we're now talking about two very extremely emotionally unregulated people trying to go about and have a stable relationship. And I think that's also like the other thing where we're seeing like that disconnect, as well as like, you know, the idea of, it does seem like Georgie is not around often. You know, he wakes up before Lana takes the girls to school. Like he's already gone before the girls have breakfast and before like, you know, they get in, like before like the girls even wake up. So it's like the, you know, and then they don't and then he doesn't come back until, you know, dinner time, which is like, let's say dinner time's like 6 p.m. You know.
Yeah.
He probably it sounds like he drives an hour to work and an hour back.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. And like he sounds like he gets home at 6 o'clock. And then, you know, because of their age, they're going to bed by like what, like 7:38?
I don't know. I feel like people that I've talked to, like, I feel like my bedtime was always like 7:30 at that age. But like people I talk to now that have kids at that age, they're like, oh yeah, they go to bed at like 8:30. I'm like, Did we like just shift bedtime later, like for an entire generation?
Good for them. You know what? Once again, good for them. I'm not jealous at all. It's whatever.
Yeah, so everybody who has kids now that are about 5 years old, what time are their bedtimes? Because I feel like from what I've noticed, it's later than when I was a child.
I mean, like, I feel like 7:30, like 8 o'clock.
7:30 to 8:30 makes sense.
Yeah, like I'm like 7:30.
Like once it hits 9, I'm like, that's nighttime.
Yeah, I just feel like it's too late. Like I've wanted them to go to bed already because I wanted to.
Like I wanted to relax.
I need time. Like,
you
need to like leave or do something or just,
So I feel like
can't.
7:30 to 8:30 is probably their bedtime. So they get like an hour and a half ish.
Yeah, like an hour and a half
with their dad at night.
Yeah. Especially like at night during the week. Obviously he has weekends off, but you know, we're talking like this is like happening during a weekday. You know, and so it's like the idea of like now she has to like feel guilty about this, and then like not only that is like
end up ordering food.
Yes.
And
yeah, she was like, I just ordered food because like I couldn't deal with cooking for everybody.
So valid though. And that's a valid thing. But so she ends up ordering
that
food.
Is very, very valid, but I think it's just like the way that she says it to Charlie.
It's the way that it comes across, which is where the issue is. It's not
I couldn't like she's like I just can't deal with like cooking dinner for you and your children.
Yes.
And it's very much like this emphasis of like what is yours and what's mine is mine. And I do think that like, you know, that can happen.
Yes, and it's like as someone that
you're dating, like you're not married,
but they're engaged.
You're dating.
You're engaged. Because like he openly says, I think this is the moment when he was like, "Oh no, like what? You can just go live with her again?" And he's like, "No, like I'm engaged to you, and like we'll work on this, and like I do plan to like act on that. Like we're gonna make sure that we get married soon." But it was odd because he was like, "Oh, like we couldn't do it for a couple of years, like we couldn't, you know." And
well, because legally, I think, legally, she has to be presumed dead, and I think that like the search has to be like
probably 3 or 4 years or something.
I don't know. I think like they just have to be like they have to like actually like declare their spouse dead. Not only like does the search have to be like dormant for so long, but I think that they have to like.
Do they?
I think like some sort of like declaration has to be done because it's like the.
Well, how would I search this?
But like it's like I don't know how you divorce somebody who you think could be dead. Like when, like at what point does the marriage become like null and void after death? And that's
how long does a spouse have to be missing?
I think we should just put dead because they thought that she was dead.
Again.
And I know that sounds crazy. That's a crazy search thing. How long does your spouse have to be dead before you can get remarried?
Right? Annulled?
Yeah, like to get like your marriage like annulled.
Spouse's death automatically ends when they die.
Okay,
but
so then maybe you should just put missing. Maybe missing is the correct thing. Because like there was they were searching still for like the first like year and a half though.
Yeah. Legally, a spouse being missing is not grounds for an annulment in the U.S. Annulments are only for marriages that were invalid from the beginning, fraud, or lack of consent, bigamy. Instead, missing spouses are handled via presumption of death and divorce laws. 7-year rule. If a spouse completely disappears and has had no contact for a minimum of 7 years, you can petition the court to have them declared legally dead. Once the court issues a declaration of death, your marriage officially ends by law, allowing you to remarry. So 7 years.
Wow. That, much longer than I thought it was going to be, but like also I'm like, you know what? Half of me is like, I feel like that's an appropriate amount of time to like continue looking.
Yeah.
For like me, I'm like, for sure. You know.
If you do not want to wait 7 years, you can, to be legally free to be remarried, you can file for no-fault divorce on the grounds of abandonment or irreversible breakdown. Because your spouse is missing, you will need to ask a judge service by publication to prove that you have made a diligent effort to locate them before proceeding with default divorce. Okay. So I would say he's probably trying to wait.
Yeah,
because
I'm
also,
sure that they
imagine that like he's being like that hope of like, what if she's still out there? You know, like that'd just be such a hard thing. Anyway,
but like I mean, he experienced that for like you know like the first like year and a half, And then it kind of seemed like, you know, like that last, like, you know, 6 to 8 months was really like the idea of like coming to terms with like, okay, now like what are we really going to do? Like what are like how are we going to proceed forward? Like what is my life going to look like? Things like that.
And so,
you know?
like you said, it's the way Lana kind of approaches it, but she does order food.
Yeah.
And so it gets delivered. And the way she treats this delivery man, I'm like,
like he like knocks on the door and is like, hey man, I saw you didn't leave a tip, so I thought like maybe you would have a cash tip. And she was like, the delivery instruction says to leave it at the doorstep.
Yeah, and then I love how the dad's like, don't worry, honey, I got it. And like gives him like a $10 bill.
Yeah. And
like immediately is like, no, stop.
And like the delivery man takes it, and like Mella's like looking at like how not only like she treats the delivery man, but how the delivery man treats like these parental figures that she's dealing with. She notices that like the delivery man like hands the food to like my dad, and like he gives him a smile and is like very like like appreciative and thankful. And then when he like looks at Lana, you can tell like he does not like her. Yeah. And like he thinks that she's like a quote unquote bad person. Yeah. And she's like, I'm glad that other people can see what I can see. I just wonder why Papa can't see it too.
Yeah. And, you know, so they, you know, put the food down and it's fried chicken. And...
yeah, because they got Popeyes.
And then I believe it was his dad that mentioned it. It was like, oh, like... or was it Lana that said?
It was Lana who, like, asked, like, oh, have you ever had, like, Popeyes before? And, she
Mella's
says...
like, oh, I've had KFC or something. She's like, oh...
Well, she said, no, I've never had Popeyes, but I've had fried chicken.
Yeah.
And, you know, Rachel immediately speaks up and is like, what do you mean you've never had Popeyes? Like, KFC is gross. Like, and, like, openly says that. And, like, well, like...
the dad also kind of called, like, did you get this on purpose?
Well, like, Lana, like, openly says, like, oh, that's right. I remember you telling us when you had fried chicken because Charlie brought you KFC.
Yep.
She's like, oh, yeah, and Charlie brought you KFC that one night before you guys, and, like, and, you know, Georgie has to, like, cut her off, and it's like...
because she's gonna keep going. And I'm like
why are you first off, there's
up? Me, and I'm also the fact that it's, oh, Mella and Meg can't be together because she's gonna, like, corrupt, you know, the other...
Yeah, like, you're
Meg,
gonna, like, talk about this.
But now you're talking about this in front of everybody, and I'm like, I'm confused.
Yeah,
and, so
like, bringing it up like it's a normal thing just to, like, bring up.
Yeah, and, like, Georgie's like, hey, can we not talk about this in front of her, please? Like... yeah, let's not. And then he's like, did you get this on purpose? Like, because, you know, he does, like, blatantly ask.
Yeah, because, like, you can kind of tell that, like, Mella is getting upset almost because, like, and then, like, not only that, like, the fact that, like, Rachel's, like, taunting her for, like, never having it before, and like the KFC's gross, and she's like, but I like KFC. And then, like,
and she's like, I like fried chicken.
Yeah.
And, like,
and
Lana...
then, like, her dad gets up, like, to get, like, cutlery and stuff. And then that's when Lana, like, leans in. And it's like...
yeah. And she's like...
are you...
oh, like, you had pet chickens. Right? Mm-hmm. And then...
yeah.
I'm going to do it in the voice because it was awful. You had pet chickens, right? Oh, like, well, this is also from chickens. And it's... so they'll cut them up. They'll take your chickens and cut them up and then put them in batter and oil and deep fry them. And now you have the chicken.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and so now she's like, oh my gosh, my chickens, and I'm scared for them. I know that with another person, but I don't want them to be fried chicken.
Yeah. And, like, it's, like, kind of upsetting because, like, she didn't know, and clearly Meg didn't know either. Mm-hmm. And, like, they're kind of, like, getting upset and, like, almost
and
crying.
Rachel's like, you're so dumb. How didn't you know that they were chicken? And I'm like...
yeah, the name chicken is in, like, the word chicken is in the name. Like, why are you, like, this dumb? Like, I can't believe, like, you haven't been taught anything ever. Yeah. And it's, like, also, like, you know, being mean to her. And then, like, the dad comes back in the room and kind of clearly sees that, like, Mella and Meg are both, like, upset now and are, like, almost, like, to the point of crying. And he's like, did you do this on purpose? Like, did you, like, bring this up and, like, bring up Charlie, like, on purpose? And she's like, I would never. Like, why would I ever? Like, why would you think that I would do that? Like, why do you think I would, like, constantly try to hurt them? Like, it hurts me that you think that I could be that cruel.
Yeah, it's like, I had no idea. Like, it just slipped my mind that KFC and Popeyes were similar.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, like, I'm so sorry. And, like, you know, everybody starts eating. And, like, she does it, like, say, like, she wants to eat the chicken, but she doesn't want to eat the chicken. And then she does end up eating the chicken because it is good. Because she's like, I like it. It's yummy, you know?
Yeah. And so then, you know, they kind of have dinner. And then, you know, now it's like nighttime and they're doing the things. And so then they're putting Mella to bed. And she's like, hey, Dad, can, like, or she calls him Papa, sorry. Like, Papa, can we leave the light on, please? Like, she really wants the light on because, like, she's like, if the light is on, then the shadows can't get me. And so he's like, yeah, like, of course, like, no worries. And he says goodnight and walks out. And, like, Lana's, like, looming in the, like, the door. She does not want Mella to be alone with anybody. And, you know, she goes, like, oh, like, goodnight. And then she starts shutting the door and she slips her hand in and shuts off the light. And I'm like,
yeah.
You bitch.
Yeah, and it's like you could kind of tell like that was going to happen anyway because like
yeah, for
it's
sure.
just like the way that like she like says it is like Lana actually like closes the door all the way.
Like I feel like it's like for me it was like cracked and she just slips her hand in.
Yeah, like but there was like this idea of like there was that moment of the door was closed enough to where she thought that they were going to leave the light on.
Yeah. And I feel like this book does a really good job at you know what's going to happen. You know what's about to happen. You know what she's going to say. You know what's, like, you know, what everything is going to do. Yes. But it's like that dawning of, oh, God damn it. This is going to be painful. And, like, you knew she was going to shut off the light. And you're like kind of with Mella because she's like, oh, my gosh, like, yay. And you're like, please just don't. And it's not like, because they're not plot twists, you know, but it's.
No.
That same feeling you kind of get when it's that dawning of, oh, God. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and here's the thing is, like, I think, like, the other thing about that is, like, we know what people are like. We know how adults behave when they feel hurt or they want something as well. And so it's like we have this much more fuller understanding about the situation. Mm-hmm. So knowing that to us, these plot points are predictable, but for Mella, unfortunately, they are unpredictable because she is still expecting.
And I think
the idea of being loved.
And I think that's
She's
why
still
it's like
expecting that.
Yeah,
you know?
And that's why it's like it's not a plot twist for us because it's that dawning. We know what's gonna happen, but it's in quotes like a twist for her because she's like, what's happening? And it's like for example, like the next morning, Lana's like, she's like, oh my gosh, Lana, I think loves me now because she's giving me all of this food, and I'm like, oh, darling.
And my mama said that like when mothers love their babies, they give them good things to eat.
Yeah. And I do also love
like,
how
Lana must really, really like me.
Yeah, and because she's giving her donuts, she's giving her Reese's Pieces, she's giving her, and they're like they go to IHOP and they order food. Yeah. And
but I do also, love it's like how she gave her donuts and orange juice and Reese's Pieces before the other girls in her room, and before they got into the car to get ready to go.
And then they go to IHOP and she eats the whole plate. And I do really, really love me as I'm like getting into social work and stuff, these little tiny things that they're mentioning where it's like, hey, like the social work lady, you know, adjacent, like told me like, oh, I heard them saying that like kids that haven't had food or like kids that have been kind of going through what I've been through will just eat and eat and eat and eat until, you know, because they don't know when they're gonna have food again. And so like, and you see her doing this, she'll just keep eating and eating and eating if she can. And so I really love these small, like, it's written very well, and of like, here's and like then these small social like things you hear, but then also thinking of it in that aspect. I'm like, no, this is written so well, and this is exactly how that child would act.
Mm-hmm. And then it's also like that's also why the nausea during the car ride is a common occurrence, is because when you eat a lot because you're not used to eating that much, your stomach is already going to be upset. And then when you add motion on top of that, then it just gets
and especially motion that you're not used to.
Yeah.
You know, exactly. And so then they go to IHOP and she's like, this is the bestest thing ever. It's so good. And I'm like, I love that for you. I wish that this wasn't why. And she's really excited
because like, not only that is after IHOP, they get to go like to the hospital and see her mom, and she hasn't seen her mom, and she's openly said like, we've only ever talked to her on the phone, and like when we talk to her on the phone, like Lana just seems really upset. Like when daddy's talking to mama on the phone, like when papa's talking to mama on the phone, Lana is always there looking very upset that they're talking on the phone. And she says like she even looks upset like when we talk on the phone with mama. You know?
And so like she's super excited, and like we've said like before, it's like we know why she's feeding her food. We know why she's doing this because she wants her to throw up. And she does end up throwing up in the car, and she has like the bags, right? And she throws up in the bags.
And she throws up multiple times.
Multiple
too.
times,
they have, like 2 bags now.
Yeah, 2 bags, and she's like, oh, I feel better, and like they're walking in, and they go to the security guard,
and like the dad offers too, like, oh hey, like, do we want to stop and throw them out now?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh no, it's fine. Like, we can find a place later.
Yeah,
we can find a place later. Like,
and then they get to the security guard. They get out of the car. They get to the security guard. They're like, oh, has anybody like been sick recently, like a fever? And they're like, oh no. And then Lana like pipes up. She's like, oh, where can I throw these away?
She's like, no, nobody's been experiencing any symptoms, but do you have a place where we can throw this away? And clearly they are vomit bags from a hospital because, that's where they got them from. That's like who provided them to them. And so, of course, the security guard is going to be like, I know that you just said that, but it looks like somebody was sick. And then they were like, oh, well, she just gets car sick. Like, it's not a big deal. And she's like, unfortunately, like, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm just the security guard. But this is a rule that I have to enforce, regardless if it's just car sickness. We don't know that.
Yeah.
We don't know that. And we can kind of tell that the way that the hospital is so, like, specific about them, like certain germs going in and things like that, we can tell that the mother is in very critical condition.
Yes.
Like to the point where like they think that her immune system is so low that she's not going to be able to handle like certain outside germs.
Yeah.
And so it's like
because she also hasn't been like, obviously she's older, so she has had the immunizations and things like that. But once like being away like that for so long, you're not gonna. Your body needs to rebuild its immune system.
But not only that is she was extremely abused. She had holes at the bottom of her foot by stepping on a nail. She had like multiple bruises, lacerations on her, as well as she's extremely pregnant.
Yeah, very pregnant, and like, but like not pregnant enough where they could like get the baby out yet. Like that weird, that in between of it's too young.
Yeah.
But yet you're not. So, but also like where we left her off in the first book was like, wasn't she like almost dying on the floor?
Yes, because Charlie had really
beaten her.
Yeah, like beaten her to the point where her face was swollen to like the point of no recognition. Like she couldn't open her eyes for 4 days.
Yeah, like it was really
she
bad.
Couldn't move, and she could barely like get up to go to the bathroom. Like, Mella openly is like, oh, like Mama laid there on the floor for 4 days and could not move.
And that's where we left her. So she is in critical condition.
Yeah, like this woman is not okay.
Yeah.
like she can barely like stand up. Yeah. Like she's still like not really that great, Yeah.
And so, Mella's like, no, I want to go see mom. Like, mama, I want my mom. And like the dad's like, hey, like, is there any way? Because like she really needs to see her mom. They're like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, like, sorry, man, I'm just the security guard. Like I just enforce the rules. Like I can't do that. Like,
Yeah. Eclipse is also upset about it.
And like, obviously like she's starting to get like louder and louder and louder, and like the security guard is like, okay, well, like you guys are okay to go in, but like somebody's gonna need to wait out here with her. Like, and Lana's like, well,
yeah,
I can wait out here with like her and Rachel, and like we can wait in the car. And he's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, that would be so great. And mind you, like thinking in mind, like this is Meg's first time ever meeting her mother.
Yeah.
Ever meeting her mother, and like she's in a hospital, and like she's like very like nervous and scared, and like we see this scene in the car before they get to IHOP about how they're kind of like talking about this.
Yeah.
And like Meg is staring off in the window, like not acknowledging everybody, and like she doesn't acknowledge people until like Rachel is like, are you deaf or are you just stupid?
Yeah.
And it's like the fact that like this is like what this little girl says in the car,
like
in front
6.
of her parents.
Yeah.
And like nobody's saying anything about this is interesting to me. But I'm also just like, I mean, kids say crazy things, but it's also like this is once again where we see like the difference in parenting, the difference in like what's okay and what's not okay,
Yeah.
And so like we're seeing, Mel like get more and more upset, where Meg is getting like nervous and scared and like just like apprehensive, and like she like cries in the car, and like Mel does see it, and she's like, oh, I just like didn't want to acknowledge it because I know how like it is like when I cry, like sometimes I don't want people to say anything. Like I know how it feels because when I met Papa, I felt the same way.
Yeah.
You know? And so it was like that like very like relatable feeling that like she could have with her twin sister.
Yeah.
But like, you know, she's now pitching a fit in front of the security guard and is like distraught, you know? And is like, no, I want my mama, and then like starts like kicking and screaming and like really like fighting Lana, and like Lana like picks her up and is like holding her tight so like they can like walk out, and as like she's like squirming around, like she bites Lana really really hard, and like
and
Lana
she drops her.
Like and Lana like drops her.
And I do love how she was like, I didn't want to do it. I kept like, I was like, I don't want to do it, but I kind of did it anyway, because she was like in that state of I can't control what I'm doing.
Yeah. She was like, I didn't mean to. I just like was so upset, and all I saw was like red. Like I just like it just like came out.
I love how they do it with colors.
Yeah, and then like, you know, obviously like the dad comes out and is like, hey, like trying to like calm her down, and is like and distracts her very like normally. Like I feel like this is like a normal thing that a lot of parents do, is like, you know, like distracting them like by like putting a show on for them or giving them their phone or like, you know, enticing them to like behave like with you know something that
I know that like
they enjoy.
And it's like I know that we're kind of like there's a big controversy right now about like iPad kids and like screens with kids and stuff, but I feel like in this moment this was a very natural right thing to do, just because it's a hey, you know, I'm so sorry that you can't go see your mom. Here's some Marvel. There's so many you haven't seen.
Yeah.
Like, you can watch that in the car. And then...
Yeah, and then you'll see your mom next time.
Yeah.
And, like, she, like, you know, obviously, like, is throwing this fit. And so, like, he helps them to the car because, like, at this point, like, needs to. And, like, she's, like, now on the phone and, like, she, like, has, like, the Marvel thing. And, like, Rachel is, like, I don't want to listen to Marvel like the whole time. And he was like, hey, do you think you could be a really good big sister and play with your tablet with your headphones on? Like, do you think you could do that? Like in the car, like while we wait. And like, he's like at the door, like with Lana, and he's like, I'm so sorry. I know that like that was a lot. Thank you so much. Like you're such a lifesaver. We'll be in and out real quick. And then Lana's like, well, how am I going to get in contact with you if she has your phone? Like, what if I need you?
Really big upset about this.
What if I need you? Like what happens? Like if like something happens, and she's like, well, how long are you guys even going to be in there? And he was like, oh, like an hour tops. And she gets really upset. And she's like, an hour? Why are you guys going to be in there for an hour? Like I'm going to be sitting out here like, and like, I can't contact you for an hour. And like, he's like, an hour tops. Okay. Like it's going to be okay. Like I promise, an hour tops. And she's like, fine, whatever, just go. And like
he says, he's like, you know the room number, you can call the room.
Yeah. And he was like, if anything happens, call the hospital, ask for the room number, and they will connect us. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, you know, being like really like grateful and being like, you're the best. Like, thank you so much. Like, I understand. Like, this is such a big thing. Like, my kid did just bite you and like pitch a fit in like the middle of this thing, but also at the same time, like us as adults, we can be like, well, why did we not just throw these out earlier? You know what I mean? Or leave them in the car or do something, because, you know, as walking up to a hospital, there's a lot of
there's so many trash cans.
There's so many trash cans like coming up. Like when you get out of your car in the parking lot, there's probably a trash can in the parking lot. There's a trash can. There's like, as like you walk up through like, you know, like any like type of corridors or like, you know, length of like stretch of road to get to the, like the front of the building. There's like, you know, trash cans outside of the front of the building before you even walk in to get to security. Like there was probably, you know, a trash can in like inside, like right by the door, even before you get to security.
Yeah. And that's
like,
why
there's like so many things,
you know, as an adult, she did that on purpose. For sure.
It's like, there's so many things like as an adult, we think about where we're like, well, yeah, I kind of agree. Like, why did you not throw those out earlier?
Yeah, because he does ask. He's like, did you do that on purpose? Like, why didn't you throw that out? Though. He does ask after they get back in.
And so it's like but here's the thing is like when she's in the car and she's pitching the fit about the phone, the moment that he walks away, she grabs the phone from her and is like, thank God, now I can finally see what he's been texting this bitch this whole time. And the fact that she refers to Alice as this bitch, I was like,
oh my God.
I can't.
I know.
And it's like I try to. I mean, we do it, me and Ashley both do it, where we attempt to recognize human and like recognize and practice human sympathy when it comes to something that we can't understand. And this is the type of behavior that I don't think that me and Ashley like necessarily like super understand. Yeah. Because it's like the idea of I understand like it's a heavy topic and it's a hard dynamic. Mm-hmm. And it's like I could only like think about how I would feel as like the girlfriend of somebody whose wife basically like came back from the dead, quote unquote. Yeah. You know? But I guess like that's the thing is she's thinking about, oh, she left and just came back, where we know the nuances of the situation of she was kidnapped. And I think the difference between being kidnapped and being left is it's like a huge shift in dynamic of the situation. But in Lana's mind, you can very clearly tell she's operating under the idea and the assumption that she left and that she chose that for herself, which is very wrong. And we know that as like the omniscient reader. Yeah. But you know, but like the fact that she's like, oh, now I can like finally been like seeing like what he's been texting this bitch and like look at their text messages and like
and clearly, like you said, like having absolutely no empathy or sympathy for her being kidnapped.
Yes. And like here's the thing is like these like in terms of like that like type of situation, I can only show sympathy because like I can't be empathetic for this situation because I've never experienced that. Yes. And you know, empathy comes from like a deep rooted understanding, and most of the time a very deep rooted personal experience. Yeah. Is that like, you know, and I do think that you can be empathetic and sympathetic without experiencing a certain experience, but I do think that specific situation is really hard to be anything more than vastly sympathetic because of the nuance of the situation. Yes. And that's, you know, a big thing, but it's also like, you know, in terms of people, you can very much tell that Lana is not, what is that fucking word? I'm so sorry. It's like being an empathetic person, but to the extreme. It's like like empath? That, like very like yes. I was like it's like being a super sensor. Yeah. You can very much tell that Lana is not an empath. At all. And that Lana has like a very large disconnect for her situation and is showing like less sympathy and empathy around the entire situation. Yes. And as she's like going through like the text messages, like you're hearing like Mella you know, narrate this, and she's like, yeah, like as she's like going through like these text messages, like I can just like hear like Lana muttering about like, you know, ugh, I can't believe this, like I hate her, like ugh, why would he say that, like it like, you know, like very like getting upset about like the conversation that they're having, but also seeing that like it kind of seems like they're really not having a romantic type of conversation like she's thinking that they are. But then, you know, like Mella is also like, I'm kind of like getting bored and I'm restless and I wish that I could watch something. And it's like I'm watching Rachel like play the games on her tablet, but it's just not as fun because like she has her headphones on and I can't hear anything. And so like she does end up like falling asleep and you know, she's like she wakes up and she does have another nightmare in the car though. Yes. She has a nightmare like another nightmare of the car. And I do love these nightmares. Voice. Yes. And it's just a woman's voice this time. And so it's like, it's not a man shifting into a woman. It's just this woman. And it's just, you know, this woman basically berating her, telling her that like she's worthless, that she's like not nice and that, but then also it's really interesting because like a lot of her dreams have like this very cautionary tale at the end. It's like are you looking hard enough? Like make sure you like are you sure I was really being nice? Like there's a lot of these like little like you know, clues that like her dreams do give her almost. Which is very interesting because we also do know how like that is somewhat how dreams work, is that, you know, a lot of times people have like very large nightmares and dreams like that when they are emotionally processing a lot of different things. Yep. And so very interesting how like that happened. All right, guys, thank you guys so much. We both realize this conversation is going on far too long, which once again, thank you guys so much for bearing with us. But we have so many more thoughts, so I think we're going to end it here, and then make a part 2. So please stay tuned for that.
Yes, don't worry. The conversation continues, and there are so many more thoughts.
Oh, there's so many more things that we are going to discuss. But once again, thank you guys so much for coming and like bearing with us, and thank you guys for hopefully going over and joining us for part 2 as well. So make sure to like, follow, subscribe, hit all of the buttons. And just a reminder, we do have a Buy Me a Coffee link, as well as in our every single time I try to say this, I just want to say
Buzzsprout.
Yeah, and our Buzzsprout. Yeah, I was like, I kept wanting to say BuzzFeed. I was like, listen, guys, the name is very similar. But we're on Buzzsprout, and so if you'd like to donate to us there, you definitely can. But also drop down in the comments below like what you guys think so far, how you guys are feeling about the characters. Who do you think is the main villain? Like, what do you like predictions of like what you guys think are like going to happen at the end? Even though we most likely have hopefully all already read it, because we probably spoiled so much.
I know I did.
But yeah, I was like, I know I did too. So it's like thank you guys so much for like joining us, and especially for our spoily episode. But I guess the last thing that we have to say to you is,
what did the void say to you?